So in part one, I defined eyes as the judgment we feel in our minds, which also dictates our actions, or it um, influences us. And I want to add the word expectation to that, because it's also the expectations of others that um, influence us, make us do things that are not genuine to us. They can be very destructive in your life if you live only by the expectations of others. You are expected to do something that you don't want to do, or you're expected to be someone who you are not. And if you then give in to those expectations, then there's no genuineness, then there's not the real you. The real you is gone. So it's both judgments and expectations, which are pretty close to each other, but still it felt like a nuance that I wanted to bring in. Another thing I wanted to explore is the different types of eyes that can exist. There are specific eyes. Well, there's a spectrum of eyes, I suppose. Like it can go from very specific to very general. Very specific eyes would be like a one person. Parents is a good example of a very specific type of eyes, because it's two people, or it could be either one of them. So it's very specific. It's specific people whose judgments, or whose perhaps created judgments, could influence your life and dictate your actions. For example, your thoughts could be like, oh, my parents expect me to be this way or this and that way, so I will try to be that way, even though it doesn't really feel like me. That could be a destructive way of parents' eyes, the eyes of your parents. So that's a very specific example. If we move further on the spectrum, there is like this middle ground of in between specific and general, which is like groups, I think, like larger groups. The example I thought of was social media, which is still pretty large group most of the time, but it's not as big as the general, which we'll get to. So on social media, we might feel like we have to be a kind of way or do certain things to fit in there, or to fit in the expectations of the people that follow you or that you follow, to avoid judgment. If we go to the most general type of eyes, then we talk about just the general term of people, just man, like not men, but humanity, the crowd, the everyone. That can be with so many things. Like, for example, the way you spend your days. There is a certain unspoken expectation, or there are certain judgments about how we should spend our time and how we should spend our days. If we have a free day, then we might feel the eyes of humanity, or of the crowd of people, kind of tell us that we should do something, that we have to produce something, or that we have to be productive. And there again, we feel the pressure of the eyes of humanity. Every single, well, not every single, but like the eyes of so many people, we kind of feel the pressure from, oh, we need to do something and be something. I guess that's just to illustrate that the eyes can range from specific to general, and that we have all of them, like we have all of them at the same time, actually. And like I said in part one, we might not be aware of this, but it's key to know, it's key to be aware, to become aware, and to know that the eyes should not rule our lives. Another thing I wanted to touch upon was maybe the misunderstanding of how to deal with eyes. It might seem that getting rid of all the eyes, or trying to get rid of them, would cause a state of indifference towards other humans, other people, or a state of, not giving a shit and just ignoring them, basically. And that is not what my intention would be. That's not what I think is best. I do think there has to be some level of human decency, and seeing that they are like you are, and realizing that they have eyes too, and that they might be struggling with that. So you are still you still live in the world with all the other people around you, but you don't let that world morph you into something you're not. You don't let that world change your genuine self. And I hope you can feel what I'm saying, that you can become aware of the eyes in your life and what role they play and how big of an influence they are in your life. And in the end, it's not about how much I say about it, or all the kind of theoretical or whatever, specific, general, whatever. It's about feeling it and experiencing it and understanding it in that sense, that you it's insight, it's realizing, hey, this is something that, yeah, it does influence my life. And that insight, that can honestly can change your life. I hope that people can find their genuine self and find a way to be that in public also. And I hope that it can be one step towards a world of more genuineness.